So are you open to possibilities?
Yes.
Are you really?
Yes.
Can you open your arms wide? I have to hold this. And say, I am open and available.
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 I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
And just notice how that feels. Does it feel exciting, empowering? Does it feel, I'm not really in, not really, It's okay, just notice. Because the questions we ask are going to be brought back to us by the universe. There's a reminder I have for today's talk is about the acorn. And as we know, the acorn is tiny little miracle of God, has inside of it the potential for an oak tree, a giant oak tree. This little thing. I love the reminder, I have this on my desk, because each of us has the potential for greatness inside of us that may be lying dormant, or you may already experience it. But we're going to look at that today through this process of visioning, of how to tap into that bigger picture. So we're going to explore visioning. And visioning was originally created by Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and he called it life visioning years ago. And it's based on the premise that there's an infinite intelligence that we can open up to. And through visioning, we tap into that realm of possibilities that is so much greater than we can even begin to imagine for ourselves, because it's done in connection with spirit. And these greater possibilities for our lives are always available to us, as long as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, we get our bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuitry. Remember that bloated nothingness? I've mentioned that before. Yeah, I see people nodding their heads. So, I have a story for you. One day, a professor entered his classroom and asked his students to prepare for a surprise test. And they all waited anxiously at their desk for the exam to begin. And the professor handed out the exams with the text facing down. And once he handed them all out, he asked the students to go ahead and turn over the papers. And to everyone's surprise, there were no questions. There was just a dot in the center of the paper. And the professor, seeing the expression on everyone's faces, told them the following: I want you to write about what you see here. So the students, a little confused, got started. And at the end of the class, the professor took all the exams and started reading them out loud in front of everyone. All of them, all the students with no exception, defined the dot, trying to explain the position in the center of the sheet. After all had been read, the classroom went silent, and the professor explained, I'm not going to grade you on this. I just wanted to give you something to think about. Nobody wrote about the expansive space, the blank space around the dot. Everyone only focused on the dot. And the same thing happens in our lives. We insist on only focusing on the health issue that bothers us, the relationship that's difficult, the lack of money, a disappointment with a friend. He said the dark spots are really very small when compared to everything we have in our lives, but these are the ones that pollute our minds. What if you took away your eyes from the dot in your life and enjoyed your blessings, each moment that life gives you? Be happy, he said, and have a life filled with love and greater possibilities. And remember, in Science of Mind, we don't deny the dots in our lives. They're real, they're there. But what we do is affirm the greater good. So our focus is on the expansive possibilities of greater good. I like that story. It's a great reminder. Because the good news is the possibilities for our lives are infinite. What would you welcome with open arms today? Think about it. What would you welcome with open arms today? And it starts with a willingness. Can you open your arms again, if you want? I am open and available. Can you say that?
I am open and available.
Open at the top.
Open at the top.
Ready and willing to receive.
Ready and willing to receive.
Yeah, good. Again, just breathe that in. So today you're going to get another tool for your spiritual tool belt. Remember when I wore my tool belt a couple months ago? So visioning is a meditative process in which we set aside all preconceived ideas and we open to that space of deep listening to the divine wisdom within. So we quiet our outer mind and drop into that divine mind. And in the silence, we ask a series of clarifying questions and allow the answers to come forward in our awareness. And they may come forward as words, as images, as symbols, sounds, feelings, or even just more silence. Now, this practice is not visualization, which is creating a roadmap of how to achieve a goal, which is fine. Joel Goldsmith, a wise mystic, calls creating a roadmap living mentally, but rather spiritual living is a yielding the self to the receptivity of spiritual guidance, a yielding to the mind of God, a yielding of oneself so that we may become the instrument through which that divine intelligence can operate. Yielding. Are you willing to yield to something greater in your life? I am open and available. I am. So the practice of visioning is a mystical spiritual practice, not a mental one. And we don't manifest the vision is fulfilled through us. And once we ask the questions, the answers guide us to the divine idea for the next step. So in Science of Mind, one of our core concepts is we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature. And that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. That's why it's so important to do our daily connecting, reconnecting if we have to that inner, wise, loving presence. How's your relationship with your indwelling God? Is it a relationship? So what is direct revelation? As individualized expressions of the one infinite intelligence, which we always say here, we have, as I mentioned, access to that infinite wisdom and intelligence of the universe, that whole space around the dot. It flows through us and as us to the degree, though, that we set aside our bloated nothingness and become aware of the conscious impress of the spirit within. So direct revelation is available to us through our intuition. And this can be cultivated intentionally through visioning, the process. So after service today, I'm actually offering you, if you want to stay, a free visioning workshop for about an hour and a half. So you'll have the direct experience of what it is. So we all know about the creative process here in Science of Mind, don't we? When you plant a tomato seed, you get what? A tomato. Yeah, you don't get a cucumber. As much as you wish that cucumber would happen, but you planted a tomato seed. And in my Facebook Wednesday Wisdom window every week, I always start my greeting with, "Good day, creative geniuses." What are you creating today? Because we're always creating something, aren't we? Yes. And sometimes that's by default or by design. But when we consciously use the creative process, we can embrace a new thought or a new idea, plant it in the medium, the law, and then be assured of its demonstration or manifestation by our faith in it. Visioning uses the creative process to embrace a new way of being, the embodiment of which will result in your personal transformation. That's guaranteed. And who doesn't want personal transformation? I am open and available. Reverend Michael says, we are either pushed by pain or pulled by a vision. We've all been there before. So in visioning, we don't manifest the vision, rather we attune and align ourselves with it. And we become that avenue, that instrument, again, through which we can experience it. So Reverend Michael also says, we pray affirmatively, not about how to accomplish a vision, but rather about the ways in which we need to grow. It really puts us to our growing edge sometimes, and out of our comfort zone. And our comfort zone can be very comfortable. But is it working? Are you feeling like you are expanding and growing? By asking what qualities you must cultivate in support of your vision, you come into direct contact with your growing edge. And he says our willingness to change allows us to participate in our own growth and development with greater ease and with trust in ourselves and confidence in the process. Willingness. Are you willing? Are you willing to try something different if something's not working out? Take a breath with that. Now, even though the questions in visioning tap us into our spiritual nature, we as humans have questions we ask ourselves all the time. And it's really important to notice those because there's science behind the questions. We would be hard-pressed to find a mental tool more practical to improve the results in our lives than improving the questions we ask ourselves. Did you know there's specific regions in the brain that are controlled by the questions you ask yourself? Questions trigger a mental reflex known as instinctive elaboration. Fancy word, huh? Instinctive elaboration. Google it, it's true. I didn't make this up. When your brain is posed a question, it instantly kicks into gear to find an answer to it, whether you realize it consciously or not. And your brain is driven to find the answers to your questions. And the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your results. Kind of like the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your results, right? Didn't Ernest Holmes say, change your thinking, change your life? So think about it. Have you ever said to yourself, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why won't anybody help me? I know I've said those questions. So take a breath and, because when we put those questions out, it makes us feel more like a victim, doesn't it? Because your brain, bless it, will just keep feeding data back to you to affirm why poor me. That's its job. But the moment you ask a different question, a miracle can occur. A miracle can occur. What if you asked, What is it I can do to improve my well-being? What is this situation trying to teach me? How can I claim my victory? How can I be brave? Can you feel how more expansive those questions are in your mind? They open a door, don't they? They open a door to possibilities, and they take your mind off the dot. They open you to that expansive, universal intelligence. So in the actual visioning process, we do ask certain questions, but it's in a very deep meditative way. We catch the vision, just like the acorn has the potential of a grand tree. Your vision has the potential of amazing possibilities. And visioning isn't just for you. There's group visioning as well. I know here at the Foothill Center, I led visioning, and the practitioners did, for the Board of Trustees every week for a long time. We would vision about the growth and the stability of this center. The practitioners vision. You can vision as a family. So groups also can use this process. So 3 words I want you to think about: embrace, embody, and become. Those are some of the questions and feelings that are in the visioning process. So think about embracing. When you embrace someone or something, it's an act of receptivity, and it implies a level of enthusiasm, doesn't it? When you embrace something. Because we cannot have or experience what we're unwilling to receive. So, what must I embrace is asking, what am I receptive to? What changes do I wrap my arms around and hold lovingly and nurture? Embrace. Embody. So embracing an idea is an opening in your consciousness, but embodying an idea is a demonstration of consciousness. To embody something is to go beyond the mental, intellectual knowledge of it. So you know how it is when we embody something, it's a part of us. And our consciousness becomes more instinctual. It's a knowing that we know that we know. When we embody something, we have a deep belief in something, a certainty and a faith. What beliefs are you embodied, have you embodied, that are manifesting in your life today? And are they serving you? Becoming. What must I become? And here we ask, what are the divine qualities within me am I being called to remember as my truth? Because we come into the vision in alignment with it when we become. First we be, then we become. The vision pulls us to it. Remember, we're either pushed by pain or we're pulled by a vision. So embracing and embodying are activities of consciousness cultivation. Becoming, on the other hand, is an act of allowing. Allowing that which you already are to come forth and blossom. That which you already are to come forth and blossom. To grow into that magnificent tree. I am open and available. Wayne Dyer said, we can raise our level of consciousness from ego and group dominance to what I call visionary consciousness, in which we reconnect to the mind of God. So remember, we don't manifest the vision, it already is. We simply release and let go of the obstacles we have placed in its way, and we embrace a new idea, we embody a new belief, and we become that which we already are. And in doing so, we transform our lives. What if if great things are coming to you today? What if great things are coming to you today? So can you take your focus off the little dot on the page of your life? Are you willing to see the more expansive possibilities? Take the workshop today. You might discover something. So I'll close with Ernest Holmes' quote, our founder at Science of Mind. We should take the highest thought we have and attempt to enlarge on this consciousness until it embraces a more vital concept of reality. Consciousness, in this sense, means an inner embodiment of ideas. I am open and available. Let's take that into prayer. Taking that breath of dropping into that sacred center. As I call forth the infinite indwelling spirit within me, Almighty God within me, that which is truth within me, to rise. Recognizing in this holy, sacred moment of now that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence I call God, Creator, Spirit, Source. Infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, moving in and through me, moving in and through each of you. We are all connected. We are all instruments in this divine symphony of life. And so I'm grateful today to claim and know for each of us that there's a willingness to tap in to the greater possibilities for our lives right now. To let go of the lesser and claim the greater. To know that there is a peace that passeth understanding. To know that there is a love in our heart that we can share. To know that there is abundance for all, peace and harmony. And so I'm grateful for this moment to elevate our consciousness to the greater good. Knowing that this or something even greater is happening on the unseen side of life, as long as we say, yes, use me, I am open and available, beloved. And anything that we feel is holding us back, we release it, we let it go. It has no power. The only power there is the power of love, the power of God, the power of possibilities. And so we anchor that in today. We feel grounded in the truth. And knowing that the truth has been spoken, I'm just so grateful to be able to be a conduit. And so I release this word, my word, into the law that is always working, that always says yes. And with a smile, we just agree and let it be. Let it be. Let go and let God. And so we do. And join me in saying, and so it is.